talk about festive styling and how I actually style this image. Basically, this is something that I shot a few months back for Christmas, and you can see over here that there's just a picture of like two turkeys as well as some Christmas decorations, as you can see over here, as well as you can also see there's actually some sort of like different types of ingredients, the fresh ingredients, right? So I'm just going to talk through my process of styling this image and hopefully that can help you, right? So usually when I style an image for a shoot, whether it's for my own work or for my clients, I usually have a few things that I actually think about. Firstly, I will actually plan my shoot way before the shoot day. So that could be just like taking note of a client's reference images. So for they will usually send me like a mood board or some reference images of the direction they wish to go, whether it's like in terms of like colors, in terms of like props they wish to use, the angles they wish to capture the food, etc. And usually with all this information given to me, I will add on to the Pinterest board or add on to their PDFs, or like basically communicate with the client what they would like to achieve and what things that I think would be suitable to add on as well. Right, so this is really like a co-creation process. It's not like no the client is going to like do all the work, or you as a photographer is going to do all the work. It's more like coming together, collaborating, and making sure that the shoot will be a success. Right, so for this I decided that usually when I start a shoot, usually I would actually have a short list as well, right? So it would dictate like what kind of dishes will be in each shot. This is to ensure that I don't forget, right? So sometimes in the midst of everything, right, you may like forget to like shoot something or whatever, or sometimes clients will be so busy as well with like overwhelmed with their own work that they may forget some shots as well. So in this case, this was the short list, just like image of like two different types of turkeys. So usually I will place the turkeys first, right? In the shot. So in this case, you can see both turkeys are pretty much a similar size, right? um and then they are also start right, I mean it's quite similar in that sense, right? They have like the bread and then as well as the fresh ingredients, like I think this like Brussels sprouts and some potatoes. Similarly here, right? Just that the crust of the turkeys are like different, right? So usually I will just put in my surface, which is called called tabletop, and then I'll put in the two dishes, right? And obviously my camera angle will have already been set, but after putting in the two dishes, I will actually recheck the angle on my laptop, just to make sure that angle is correct. If I need to, I'll adjust the angle. Then obviously then this like the backdrop, right? The cloth or the vinyl will have been placed as well at the same time. And then after the two main heroes in this case are being placed in the image, I will actually proceed to start the rest of the scene, right? Which is where you can see a little bit of a carving knife and fork over here with the Christmas decorations and the fresh ingredients over here, right? As well as the gobo, right? So after putting these two dishes, we decided that we wanted to use some darker colored orchids, as you can see over here. So I have a couple of them, right? Just to hint that is like Christmas, but not like overly how do you say, not overly like traditional kind of look, right? So it's either go with like this dark colored maroon orchids, and then obviously because it's Christmas, we have some candlelights with some Christmas trees right over here, and then I had some Christmas balls over here. And what I did was actually this like carrots and like some of the fresh ingredients actually didn't come with this like white and gold kind of like string, or I don't know, I think string, you can call that string, right? So they actually came with the typical like white color string or the brown color string, but to give it a bit more festive look, I decided to like change all of them to this white and gold string, right? Just to give it a little bit more festive. And then to ensure that both dishes remain like the heroes, I decided to elevate one of them on a stand and kept the other one lower. right? But I decided to actually add on a little bit more like festive details with like this little ribbons over here, different type of ribbons, right? This one is with dots, and this one is with a snowflakes, right? So little accents, I would say, like this, like ensuring that there's sufficient detail, right? Will ensure that your clients or whoever is viewing this image will spend more time looking at this. And then obviously the gobo, we actually, this was actually a fake leaf, and we actually tried a couple of times to decide what is the best look. Obviously, you know, if your background is actually black and not blue, you can easily just purchase gobo shadows online on creative market, and then just plant them in. For us, we decided to just like do it like in real life, just to see how it will look like. So we had a few shots that have this gobo effect, and we had some without, right? But we decided ultimately it looks like sort of like more complete with the gobo effect. And again, like you know, to give a little bit, make it look a bit more festive, I had some little silver and like gold kind of like party, like I don't know, sparkles, sparkles, or those little shiny things that you throw in the air for Christmas. So I had some of them here, all throughout the vinyl. This is actually vinyl, not velvet. Um, and that's pretty much it for this image, right? So we decided to lit up the candles as well, because it does give us a little bit more festive looking, right? But other than that, we pretty much spend quite a bit of time rearranging like the ingredients right throughout, ensuring that it looks balanced in some way, but then not like overwhelming the turkeys who are the heroes. And as with all my images, there's always negative space, whether it's at the top here where the client can put his or her logo, or over here where they can put some text, you know, like, you know, this is actually a takeaway, like this takeaway for Christmas and stuff like that. So I usually would give clients a couple of spaces where they can put some text. And that's also one of the questions I ask my clients beforehand. If they have any text they wish to put in, is there a particular spot that they want, like in the middle or top right hand corner or top bottom hand corner or whatever, and I will keep that space empty for them, right? Rather than like them having trying to struggle to put in, find space in the image to put in text, right? Usually that will be done beforehand, during the planning stage. So this is about it for this image. I hope it helps you when you're shooting your festive images, which is coming up in like I don't know, 2 months time, right? So this is for food, and then the other image I'll be running through today is actually this image that I shot uh actually like the end of last year. So this is actually a drink image, cranberry gin cocktail, and again I kept this like really simple, because I just wanted it to show off like a little bit of like the details, like you know, the fireworks and the kind of like lights that you would see during Christmas, or like, you know, towards New Year. And I use this wooden frame, right, just to frame up the image and to give it a little bit more interesting perspective, rather than just a simple like square image. I wanted it to look like you were looking through something, right? So I just had found this wooden frame which I use. um I decided to have like a shot of like three different glasses of cocktails, and purposely kept it such that like they are slightly arranged like together, right? And then again, just to give some accents of like it's Christmas, some more cranberries over here with some fake mistletoe, my paper mistletoe that I made, and then just a hint of the drink which is used to make the cocktails. Again, the primary colors for this image are basically kept like red and green, right? Just thyme leaves, some cranberries inside, and as well as like just a simple velvet tabletop, right? And I also wanted to play with lines in this image, so I decided to use like more like diagonal lines over here, right? Just to keep it a bit more interesting, as well as over here, right? I find like using diagonal lines gives it a little bit more oomph to the picture, right? It makes it a little bit more interesting than a normal straight line in the background. So I tend to like to use diagonal lines in my images, especially when I shoot for myself and sometimes for clients if they like the look as well. But you know, in this image is really again like this was just like composed, and you know I don't really like use like the grids, right, the composition grids like the rule of thirds or like I don't know um I don't know rule of thirds, and then you have like Fibonacci spiral and stuff like that. um I have been like using like just like by eye, typically, and obviously this will probably fall in line with one of the composition grids. uh, just that I feel like over time I've just decided to like explore like how it looks like in frame. So usually if I know like what kind of like items are going to be in frame, like so for in this image there are like three items, three of drinks, sorry, and then two more over here and one last over here. So typically as I mentioned, I'll just put in the drinks first, right, and then I add on this like cocktail jar behind, as well as the little little cranberries and some mistletoe, and then this was like, I think the last, right. So usually after putting in the main heroes, which is these three drinks, then I will look at the empty spaces in my scene, right, which will be like all the way here, right, and then I will think about how I like to like fill in the scene. All right. So I mean, having done this so many times, I felt that this is the best way to approach in terms of styling a scene, um, regardless of what kind of food or drink it is, because um, you need to like balance it out with some like empty space, which is you can see like all around my image there's always empty negative space or empty space, and then you can always play around with like the type of props that you have. And I always encourage as well like to have like plenty of like props know around when you are styling a scene, and it will be very helpful if you actually sort of like can plan out like what kind of props you will wish to use for each shot in your image, right. So obviously you know like things may not go right on the day of the shoot, but if you have like extra props, you would definitely be able to find some way or some new users of the same props, right, start differently. And that could be it, right. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.